Thank you for joining us for the Executive Perspective Series. I am Donnie Kemick with Protocol 80, and I am so fortunate to have Rhonda Johnson, president of Weber Knapp in Jamestown, New York, with us to share her perspective on 6 key business questions. So again, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So to kick things off, why don't you give us just a little overview of Weber Knapp, maybe your time with Weber Knapp and the markets that you serve?
Okay. Weber Knapp has been in business for 111 years. We are a hardware manufacturer, among other things. We manufacture two of the biggest parts of our business are counterbalances that we sell to the outdoor grilling industry and hinges for refrigerators.
Okay.
We also manufacture keyboard mechanisms for offices and home offices, which are certainly gaining in popularity. I have been with the company for, will be 30 years in January. Weber Knapp is a fantastic place to work. I actually started in the plant on the assembly floor and I've worked my way through the company, taking advantage of the tuition reimbursement, taking online classes to gain my associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree through Weber Knapp.
That is awesome. So you've got quite a history with Weber Knapp, and I think that speaks volumes to the company and the culture, as a whole.
Yes, I'm one of several people that have similar stories. It's a very good company to work for.
Well, that's so awesome to hear, and right in our backyard in Jamestown, New York. So,
Yes.
Well, I guess without further ado, why don't we kick into these 6 key questions here, starting with, what's the biggest challenge you're facing today?
Today, our biggest challenge is expanding our customer base and product offering into industries that we don't currently sell into, where we don't currently have a presence. We manufacture products, as I said, that are components in other products, such as the counterbalances for grills, hinges for refrigerators. And since the pandemic, many of our customers and those we wish to be customers are really concentrating on selling their existing products to continue to bring in that revenue. So developing new products is farther down on their to-do list, which definitely affects our business and innovation as well. And with the cancellation of trade shows and business travel during the pandemic, it's just been really difficult for us to gain new customers.
I'm sure that's a sentiment that just about every manufacturer, if not business in the world, can certainly relate to in this day and age, unfortunately.
Yes.
So when you look into 2021, facing that challenge, do you have any estimated or guesstimates on time frame when that new cycle of new product innovation might begin to take place, at least in your ideal customers' businesses?
Typically with the outdoor grilling market, they will launch at the barbecue show that takes place in March every single year at the HPBE Expo. So we do expect some of our products to be launched at that show. Our hope is that that will be an in-person show and not a virtual show, because again, just due to the nature of the product that we supply, it's important that we can be face-to-face with these customers and really describe and let them feel what we do. I believe that as soon as travel opens back up again, trade shows are live in person, we will start to see more of our products launching.
Awesome. Well, I can speak to having, tested your counterbalance technology, especially on an outdoor smoker, for example. Yes. You've got this big ceramic lid that is very heavy, and to be able to open it with your pinky is just incredible to me. So that technology that you have is unbelievable. So I, obviously wish you the best of luck, and hopefully, next year things are picking up for, your ideal customers as well, and it, comes through to you.
Yes.
Shifting gears a little bit, how do you see the political environment impacting your business over, say, the next 12 months?
It's such a loaded question because without knowing the outcome of the 2020 election, it's really difficult to speculate what the impact of the political environment is going to have on not only our business, but any business. Both sides of the aisle have such different agendas when it comes to the economy, manufacturing, taxes, tariffs, even healthcare. However, I really do feel that the most negative impact to businesses is going to come from state interference versus federal. The state government has certainly had such a heavy hand in businesses, particularly in New York State during 2020. And I think that's true no matter the result of the presidential election. I don't believe that the overall political environment really during 2021 will be conducive to business in general. I think it's going to take more than a year, no matter the outcome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Especially as we work through, these unprecedented times, it's just going to be hard to make any real lasting business impact politically until we get through the pandemic for sure. At least that's my opinion.
Yes, exactly. I think it's going to be really important for businesses, for manufacturers in general to really do what they know is right, to do what we've done for years, protect our employees, pay attention to innovation, pay attention to your customers, your employees, your suppliers, and do what you know is right. Politically,
yeah,
it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, right. Who knows which direction that curveball is going to curve, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You touched on your longevity with Weber Knapp and the fact that there are so many folks that have been there for numerous years, and that's obviously a ton of experience that Weber Knapp has on their team. So when you look at the upcoming kind of exodus of baby boomers as they decide to retire and enjoy retirement, and the influx of millennials, how does Weber Knapp prepare for that?
Well, we have about 20% of our employees that will retire in the next 3 years, and they're highly skilled. They've been here for many years. They're highly skilled, whether it was from formal training or years of repetition, learning as they go. And to replace them is very, very difficult. Millennials are the majority of the people that you're going to be bringing in to replace your boomers. And the way they work, the way they want to work is different. They want some flexibility. They want to not just work, 8 to 12 hours, 5 or 6 days a week. They want to enjoy their life, and they want flexibility in the hours. They want flexibility in the location. And when you're looking at manufacturing, there are some positions where that flexibility is possible, whether it's hours or location. But when you're looking at production operations, that is not always possible. You need a certain number of people all starting at the same time in order to make that work. So it is a little bit difficult to build excitement with millennials about manufacturing. So it's just one thing I tend to preach all the time, that we all have to be very vigilant in talking to everyone, teachers, students, parents, all of our friends, and build excitement about manufacturing, because it truly is the backbone of this region, really of this country. So it's important that we excite the millennials about it. But they don't always come in with the particular skill that you need. And that's not millennials, that's any generation. And at Weber Knapp, we have always been open to training in-house. In fact, we like that. But we also have a very rich reimbursement program for tuition for any employee that wishes to gain a new skill or enhance their skills through MTI, JCC, UB. So we really encourage that from within for employees to come in, even if you come in on the ground floor, just as I did. Don't be satisfied with that. Always try to build your skills and do something different. I mean, it not only will bring the paycheck that everybody's looking for, but it's going to bring something new and exciting in your life every day.
That is so true and so awesome to hear. If I could get you to just maybe touch on one other aspect here, and that is maybe that knowledge transfer of those very seasoned employees that you have to the millennials on your team. You talked about, structured internal and external training that you have here. Is there a deliberate effort now from, the baby boomers on your team, the real experienced folks, and doing some of that knowledge transfer? And maybe a second question to that, I apologize, is how do the seasoned members of your team handle that and going through that process?
So transfer of knowledge from boomers to a millennial or a new person coming in. If it's an existing employee that is really looking to take over a skilled position, that employee is in-house for enough time that the boomer is able to pass along some of the information they've gained over the 30 or 40 years that they've worked here. To pass all of it on really is, that is extremely difficult. I will say that people that are hungry to build their skills, they're the best students for these boomer teachers because they really do want to learn. They want to tap their knowledge. And I think boomers appreciate that. They like to pass on their knowledge and their legacy to other employees. So I think the match between the boomer and the millennial can be very, very good when both of them are hungry.
Awesome. Well, that is so great to hear. And, so vital, for the survival of so many businesses across the world, really, just that influx of the younger generation and, definitely having that desire and hunger to gain as much experience and knowledge as possible, I think is a key differentiator between, potential employees in the millennial group. So yeah. Good to hear. At Weber Knapp, how has the internet and technology impacted your company over the past 5 years, and maybe kind of looking ahead 5 years from now, where do you see it going?
Well, we know that we're all living in a time where people, customers, vendors, employees, they want to be able to see and check out a company before they actually make contact, direct contact, face-to-face, or even a phone call. So if you don't have a web presence, you're going to lose that customer. I think we need to become experts at communicating via our website, blogs, and videos, what we do and what we can do for our customers. If not, we will not gain new customers. Weber Knapp has been very vigilant for the last 2 or 3 years, trying to make a stronger web presence for our company. So because we don't sell to the consumer, in the past, we didn't feel that there was a need to really have a presence. And we've discovered that you absolutely have to have a presence. For us, over the next 5 years, we are now looking at e-commerce as possibilities. Now, as I said, we don't sell to the end user, so we're trying to figure out how that can work for us. But we know that there needs to be some type of offering because that's what consumers are demanding. Whether that consumer is the end user or it's another business looking to buy our product, that is what they're demanding. Even prior to 2020, video conferencing was gaining in popularity, and I see more and more virtual communication for the future. We spoke earlier about how I think, the video conferencing has come a long way, even over these last few months. That's only going to continue to get better. And as that gets better over the next several months and years, many companies are going to be, that's going to be their mode of communication with their customers, their suppliers, even some employees, just to keep everybody safe. To keep them safe, but also for travel expense reasons. If you can visit a customer virtually, visit a supplier virtually, everybody wins.
Right. It's funny to hear you say that. We work with a lot of manufacturers, and one of the first things they say is we want to get them on our factory floor. We want to get them looking around, seeing what we can do, seeing how our company operates, seeing, the work environment, how clean we are, and things like that. And with the advance of video and how easy video can be these days, and video conferencing, to your point, that combination, really takes that B2B buyer that historically was very accustomed to having to talk to a salesperson early on in their buying process, get samples, do research by person to person, over the phone or face-to-face meetings, is doing so much of that online now, and can be done online now that Weber Knapp especially is doing it right, with all the video content you have and so forth on your website. So kudos to you for evolving with the buyer and really putting their best interest first, which is awesome. So
yeah, thank you.
So outside of maybe marketing and sales, maybe Internet of Things, manufacturing processes, how is Weber Knapp keeping up with technological change?
So we have a healthy CapEx spend every year, and one of our largest purchases at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, was a Prima fiber laser that has the capability of running lights out, changing the sheet stock automatically. We have purchased over the last few years several CNC Swiss style turning centers. We consistently try to upgrade old machinery and equipment with new technology. The problem will come with the skills gap. So you don't want to buy the newer technology if you don't have the skill to be able to run that. So it's really a delicate balance for Weber Knapp and many, many manufacturers to make sure that once you have that new equipment, you have the skilled employees that can run it and not damage that equipment. So we try to do it on a very moderate schedule. We're training while we're waiting for the piece of equipment to come. And our training is done through MTI, through JCC. We will use the OEM training staff, or if we have an employee that does have that skill in their background, we'll use that employee to train other employees.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're proactively, looking for ways to pursue new technology. That's obviously going to make you and your team more efficient and produce a better product for the customer. Right. As hard as it can be, and it's such a big investment, it's so worth it, when you see those efficiencies come through.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question here. As a business leader, if you had to pick one, what would be your top priority this year? And I'll give you a little leeway since we're in the last quarter of the year, maybe going into 2021.
Okay. For Weber Knapp, it's innovation. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's difficult for us to present our capabilities and what we can do for a customer without being able to be face to face, and we're working on that. But with all that has happened this year and the uncertainty of next year, it's important that we don't become mired in politics and media noise and lose sight of innovation, because consumers are demanding new products from our customers, and we all have to innovate. If we don't continue to innovate new products, somebody else is going to. So for Weber Knapp, our top priority is continuing to innovate, being ready for our customers to want these new products.
Absolutely. So you kind of hit the nail on the head, I think, for any business leader. You want to innovate, maximize resources, solve problems. And, I think through you, for especially you guys' innovation, you've got many problems you'll be solving for your customers. So that is awesome. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for being willing to do this and share your perspective on these questions. I know the business community at large will benefit from hearing your perspective. And then hopefully, you know, as we go forward, you'll also get to hear others. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.